Michael Gray to the Michael K. Gray Show.
Thank you, Candice Anderson. It's a pleasure to be on the Michael K. Gray Show.
Well, Michael K. Gray. Um, there's so many things that I've read about you, your bio, so much the education and all the things that you've done. I just want to know who would you say Michael Gray is? Who is Michael Gray?
First, I'd like to give a little context of who Michael Gray is. But my life experience has a lot to do with me. I grew up in a very loving and nurturing environment provided by my parent, my mother and father. My father, Peter Gray, and mother, Dwayne Gray, in Liberia, in West Africa. Things were all great, and abruptly in 1989, the Liberian Civil War erupted. And this civil war changed everything. It took the life of over 250,000 people, leaving more than 1.5 million people displaced internally and externally. In fact, the war lasted for like 14 years. So like most of my childhood moment, most of my teenage years was lived during the war period. And that affected me considerably. But I'd like to elaborate on that later on during the program of the show.
Okay, so wow, that's pretty heavy. What would you, or who has really influenced you in your life?
Basically, like many people would say that their role model are maybe like athlete, actors, people that are reading like books, academic books or of various kind, or technical books. But my role models and the people that inspire me were my parents, particularly my mother. I remember many things about my parents, like thousands of lessons, but some of the pivotal things my mother taught me was to learn to be myself, to never be like a follower, never follow a crowd. Yeah, she was saying that sometimes, you can be a follower in terms of learning to become a leader. But she taught me that I should learn to work like individually and collectively. And that even when I work collectively, I should always maintain my level of identity or originality. Some of the lessons that she taught me was to know where I come from, that I come from a family that believe in value, in having character, and integrity. So those were the attributes that actually helped me in my life situation. My mother will always tell me that good name is better than riches. Yeah, I'm not going to say riches is a bad thing,
right?
But she taught me that good name is better than riches. So I've lived through my life experiences, doing all I can to live an integral life, a life filled with purpose, and most especially a life filled with good character. In terms of my father spent most of his time teaching me about emotional intelligence and helping me to like build up my self-esteem. I remember coming up as a young, like a kid, there were many things that he instilled in me. Like for example, like the Bible verse that say, I'm not as great in the Bible, but like in God breathing man nostrils and man became a living soul. He told me vividly that God took a part of himself to create me, that I was part of God and God was part of me. And I remember too the Bible verse stating, I remember too the Bible verse about Jesus Christ stating that the kingdom of heaven is within us, or is within you. So he informed me that I had no limitation, that God was within me and that I could achieve whatever I placed on my mind. So these were the stories, these were the lessons that have guided me through all my existence.
Oh, that's beautiful. how not to be inspired by your parents when they just sound like they were so like well-rounded and really focused on imparting that information and depositing. And you know how they say, you know, you plant something and it grows. So you're the fruit from what they planted.
Yes.
Let's go back. I wanted to go back. You mentioned a civil war in Liberia. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that affect you?
Yes. First of all, I'm thankful to God to be alive today, because I came close to death on several occasions. Extremely close to death. And even at one occasion, I experienced like an out of the body experience. And but I'm thankful to be alive. Like many of my childhood friends passed away during the war. And many times I will ask myself, why am I still alive? But as the moment progressed, I now realize why I'm still alive, because I think God has a purpose for me, and that purpose is to give back to my community. And so while I have so many stories, there's this particular story I like to state. Like my mom will always tell me, my mother will always tell me not to follow the crowd. And I violated that law or that rule that particular day, and that almost took away my life. So the rebels, sometimes they call themselves the freedom fighters, because if you call them rebels, and that will put you in a lot of trouble, that could even cause your execution. So they wanted for people to refer to them as freedom fighters. So the rebels will make statement like advance to be recognized, advance to be recognized. And so to me, it was just a ceremonial thing. And then they will salute one another to show solidarity. They will advance and salute one another. So I've seen it several times. So this day, this particular individual stated, advance to be recognized. And everyone was moving forward and saluting. And that I just wanted to be a follower. And I went and saluted. And I was identifying myself with them, just say, like I was part of their organization of such. So then this particular individual got extremely furious. He said, you guys are out here and our people are on the wall front and dying, and you're out here celebrating, you're out here chasing women, you're out here partying, and the government forces are killing our people. He said, in fact, every one of you are going to go on the war front right now to repel the rebel.
Oh no.
And I said, my God, what did I find myself in? I remember my mom always said, don't follow the crowd. Why did I follow the crowd? I've seen this repeatedly, but this particular day was the wrong time. And then the rebel got on his phone, like a walkie-talkie, and he called for a truck. And when the truck came, I was somewhere in the middle, but there were lots of things going on in my mind. And some of the things that were in my mind was, I never held a gun before. I never shot a gun before. I don't know how it's going to be being on the wall front. How do I position myself? Do I position myself in the middle, or do I position myself in the back? But I try to use my creative ability as much as possible, but it kept failing me because I never had prior experience. I never experienced a war. I never fought a war. I was never part of a rebel. So I couldn't come up with a conclusion, like a real conclusion. But the only conclusion I came out with was, well, this will be my demise. But I'm going to go there trying to survive. But I know I'm going to get killed because I don't have no exposure. I don't have no experience. So in my mind, I meant to communicate with the rebel leader. I think they would call them commanding officer, like the CEO. He was one of the elite person in the rebel organization. Then I said no. Then I concluded in my mind that if I were to communicate with him, telling him that I'm not a rebel, I'm just trying to be a follower, I was very sure of a summary execution. I was going to be executed on the spot, because they were going to accuse me of perpetrating to be something I'm not, and I was going to be considered to be a spy. And so I decided not to do that. Then I scanned around the area and was trying to find like a weak link to say, okay, who do I communicate with to say, I'm not a rebel, or I'm not a freedom fighter. Can you help me out of this situation? I did something very stupid. But there was no outlet for me. So the wall, then when the truck came, they were all getting in the truck, like I stated. And when the truck came, they were all getting in the truck. And I was somehow in the middle area on the left side and wary. And my moment was coming for me to get on the truck. And one of my cousins that I didn't see for the last 6 or 7 days, I don't know where he came from. He just snatched me from the crowd and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I don't know, we were invincible at that moment because no one challenged him, no one challenged me. And that's how I got out of that situation. Wow. And I learned that lesson clearly. From that moment, I tried not to follow people, that I tried to create my own path. That is why, like you see, I work for, which of course I will elaborate a little bit on. I worked for the Payne family for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. I always try to find my space. I try to find my word, my environment, and stick there and do the best I can to be productive in that area. I try not to chase shiny objects. I never felt that the grass was greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. I always make wherever I am my home and do the best I can to be productive. And thankfully, I learned a lot in that environment, the environment of the Paynes, which of course I will elaborate on a little bit. So that was one of the experiences that I had, and came closer. I think that was going to be my demise.
Wow, what an experience! When some people experience such traumatic events and life-changing events. Reading your bio, you have you have a degree from your bachelor's from Seton Hall, and then a master's at NJIT, all in technology and certifications in leadership, and from Harvard. And how did from such beginnings to there? How did you make it that transition there?
Thank you for saying that. I think one of the things that led me there was something that happened in my life when I was younger. I let my mother down. I fell. I repeated the 11th grade class. And deep within myself, I knew that I was a brilliant child at the time. I knew that I was brilliant because I could read a poem one time and recite the poem on the second encounter. I could hear someone give a speech one time, and then I could just recite everything the person stated. I could write song out well. There was lots of things that I did that proved to me that I was not dumb, that I was brilliant. So it happened this way. When I go in high school, I think starting in the 9th grade, middle school, but immediately when I go to high school, around that time, I saw a girl that I liked. And I'd never been in a love relationship before. So I had no idea about talking to that particular individual. I had no one to bounce things off because it was like a taboo to discuss about relationship with your parent. When I was growing up, I could discuss anything and everything to my parent. In fact, they would encourage me to discuss things with them, to get guidance, to get direction. Mm-hmm. But this was something I couldn't discuss with them. I couldn't even discuss it with my older sister. My big brother was in America, and my older cousin moved to another place, and I had no contact with him and had no one to bounce things off. So I got caught up in this emotional web, and that I think it almost destroyed me because I couldn't think at all. I couldn't concentrate at all. I couldn't even concentrate for 1 second. I struggled. My grades began to deteriorate. My interest for school diminished. I became very disinterested in going to school. And my mother observed that, and she asked me, because my traditional name is Kofa, but in the Liberian way it's Kofa. And my mom would say, Kofa, what happened? What happened, my son? And I said, Mom, nothing happened. She said, no, something happened. But I never had the courage to tell her that I'm faced with this emotional issue and that I have no direction. And this particular issue is drowning me and is leading me to a path that will lead to my own destruction. I don't know, because it affected me so bad. So I failed the 11th grade class because of that. And I was very afraid to let my mother know about it. But I had the courage to say, Mom, I failed. I did not make it. And I didn't know what to expect from my mom because my mom was tough. So, and to my surprise, she was so calm and collected. And she looked me deep in the face. She said, my son, it's okay. She said, you're gonna try again. And this time, you're gonna succeed. And normally growing up in life, we did not look our parent directly in the eye because it was a sign of respect. Like when I was speaking to my mom, I was always like bow my hair and say, Mom, is everything okay? Mom, everything is okay. Mom, I'm fine. You know, and something like that. And even I would do that to my father. But this particular day, I looked directly in my mother's eyes, like her face directly in the eyes. And I realized she was hurt. But she was pretending that everything was okay. She realized I was down and she wanted to lift me up. And so that's why she did. So from that moment, I felt that I was not brilliant enough because I let my mother down. I came from a very humble beginning, like I stated before, but my mother instilled in us that we were rich because we had character, because we had a value system.
Right.
So you could never tell me that I was never rich. So I felt hurt and belittled. So I move on in life and think that I was not brilliant enough because I let my mother down. So when I went to Seton Hall University, I didn't need to go further in school because all I needed to do was apply myself. I've learned a lot from Seton Hall that I could have applied myself and be successful in life. But then I said, okay, let me see if I can go to NJIT. I learned it's a tough school. I said, maybe I'm not smart enough. Probably if I go to NJIT, I would not be able to make it. I went there, I came out as one of the top students in the class. Then I said, okay, I made an NJIT, but maybe when I go to like an Ivy League university, I said, maybe when I go to an Ivy League university, I can make it because it was only for elite people that are extremely brilliant. So I went to Harvard, and then I got A's in every course that I did in my graduate certificate program. And then I went to Cornell, and then I said, okay, one thing I know that I cannot do, I don't think I'm smart enough, because I was still referring to that old story when I was growing up, that I let my mother down, that I was not smart enough, that I wasted her time, that she spent so much time and energy behind me in being the best I could, and I let her down. I wasted her money. So I said, okay, I know that I cannot get a PhD, because when I made my research, there's only 1% of the people in the world that have like a PhD degree. So I felt I was not smart enough, and I went to a PhD program, and almost getting like a 4.0 from a PhD program, and then I convinced myself, okay, I'm not dumb. I think Actually, I'll be graduating actually during the spring of 2025, which is May. Actually, I graduated last year in December, but there was some issue in terms of the data collection that stalled the process a little bit. But I will be actually graduating in the spring of 2025 from a Southern Miss. So I was just trying to prove to myself that I was smart enough that I did not waste my time. In fact, I never applied for any of my diploma when I graduated from school because I had no interest in my diploma. My goal was to get my diploma and get my PhD gown and put it on my mother and put the hat on her and to be able to tell her the story why I failed in the 11th grade class, because I never had the courage to tell her the story, but I felt that getting a terminal degree like a PhD and that I could say, Mom, you know, you born a brilliant son. You know, when I failed, I wasn't really dumb. These are the circumstances that led to that. But unfortunately, my mom passed away a few years ago and my dad passed away. And that really hurt me, that I never had the opportunity to share the story with her and to share with her that at least she saw me like excel in life in many aspects. So she know that her effort was not in vain. But I really wanted to let her know that, Mom, look what I did, Mom, and you helped me to accomplish this. But I know she's above with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and watching over me and knowing that I did not waste her time and that her effort was not in vain. And I know my father felt the same way too. So I just had to go through all this thing. I don't want to say unnecessary thing because I learned from it. And so I'm hoping to use the knowledge that I've acquired from all this venture to be able to improve the quality of life of myself, my family, and people that I know and people that I don't know and people that I might never meet in this lifetime. So that's my little story.
Oh, that's beautiful. That family unit is really, really centered in your heart, really inspiring you. I wanted to ask, so with all this learning that you have, all these degrees and all this experience that you have gotten over your life, over your career, what is it that you would share with aspiring leaders or those who are leaders? What is it that you would share with them?
One thing I would say to you clearly, there are many things I could share, but one thing I want to really express is something I learned from Congressman Donald Payne Sr. Because I used to worry a lot about the future. And Congressman Payne Sr. spent like so much time educating me, being a coach, being a mentor. Like he spent so much time teaching me. And our Congressman Donald Payne Jr. also did spend so much time helping me. And Uncle Bill, the congressman, older brother, and Donald Payne Jr. Uncle also did. But Congressman Payne Sr. told me, said, Michael, do you know the best way to the top? Or do you know the best way to avoid mobility? I said, no. You see, the best way to the top is to focus on your current responsibility. That you do it to the best of your ability. He said, when you do that, that's going to propel you to the next level. He said, you're going to be the go-to guy when people need to solve problems. He stated to me that many times people focus so much on the next step or focus so much on the future that they forget to learn the valuable lessons now. And that when they get to the top, there's no foundation to sustain them to the top because they did not learn the valuable lesson from the bottom. So I will tell young people the same thing Donald Payne Sr. told me. Focus on your current responsibility. Give it your absolute best. And that will propel you to the next level. So that when you get to the next level, that you have a strong foundation that will sustain you to the top. So that would be my advice for leaders or aspiring leaders.
Oh, wonderful. And you talked about the congressmen, both Payne Sr. and Payne Jr. What is it that you miss the most from working with those two men
Wow.
in those positions?
Wow. Whew. Wow. What I can say is that, first of all, my mother and father resembled that of the Payne family. Many of the values that my parent had, the character they had, was the very character I experienced while working for the Payne family or the Payne organization. Some of the things that I would miss is like I would miss the millions of people that were helped in this particular journey. Be it immigration, like the people we help in terms of family-based petition. The thousands of people we help to be reunited with their mothers, their fathers, their husbands, their wives. The many clergy members we help in terms of getting a clergy visa. The many students we help in terms of getting a student visa. The many refugees we helped in helping them to get acclimated, to get adapted to the new environment. The many people that were facing political asylum that we were able to help. The thousands of residents that we were able to help with Medicaid that were at the verge of maybe losing their life, and we came through to help them in that process or in that struggle. The thousands of people we helped that had internal revenue issues that owed the IRS, that we were able to serve as a medium to help them to negotiate an agreement that was favorable to them. The thousands of people we helped in terms, people that were losing their homes to foreclosure. All the things we did to help those people to maintain their home. People that couldn't afford like rental assistance, all the things that we did. The many people that lost their passport, like maybe one day traveling for a work engagement, and we were able to make that happen. The many students we were able to help to get into the military academy, which is equivalent to Ivy League educations. There are many veterans. The many veterans we help in terms of getting the veteran benefit. It could be educational benefit. It could be getting their death benefit. It could be getting housing benefit. I can go on and on. The many students that we help, that we provided internship for. The many White House trip we help constituents to experience. Trip to the African American Museum. The billions of dollars that Congressman Payne Sr. and Jr. was able to bring within the congressional district and the state of New Jersey. The many nations that have a profound population of people in New Jersey that we were able to help. So the list go on and on. And one of the last thing I would say is like, sometimes can you imagine going to like a Dunkin' Donut or maybe to like a coffee shop, and you see a young kid and you ask the kid, what's your name? And they tell you their name, and you realize that they're respectful and humble. And you ask them, so what do you do? And they say, oh, I go to XYZ school. And so you ask them, is there anything I can do to help you? And you say, yes, I'm looking for an internship or I'm looking for a job. You know, I miss the moment where I would pick up a phone call and to be able to call to some of my colleagues, either in a congressional office, in like a state office, in a county office, in a local government office, meaning either a municipality or like a board of education, or just public, private, whatever it is. And those kids having the opportunity to get an internship or to get a job, it makes me proud to know that those kids that we help and that I help are excelling and doing great things in life. So those are the things that I will truly miss about the pain and the opportunity they created for me from my humble beginning to be able to sit with presidents, to be able to sit with head of Fortune 500 company, 100 companies, and to be able to sit with people in the community, to be able to sit with just anyone. They could be homeless and working, helping them to achieve their goals. So those are the moments that I will truly miss. Meeting with disabled people and making them feel that they're important, that they don't have a limitation, and seeing those disabled people thriving and doing the best they can because of your input, because of your contribution, because of your encouragement. So those are moments I will really miss when it comes to the Payne family.
Oh, beautiful. Michael, we've talked a lot about how Michael was developed and who inspired Michael and what Michael has accomplished and how he's helped and how you've helped and all the things that you've aspired to do and that you've already accomplished. Now I want to know what is next for Michael Gray.
First of all, I'd like to say thanks to everyone. But one more thing I never stated. I want to say thanks to Senator George Homey. And he don't like people calling him Senator. He like people to call him George because he's extremely humble. He created an opportunity for me to work for the United States Senate in a leadership role. So I'm very thankful and grateful to him. And working for him, we were able to help like thousands of people. And I always call him the super senator because he was very like energetic on the move and doing things to help the people in terms of legislation, constituent services, and great outreach. So I'm thankful to all the people that are, since my tenure at the United States House of Representatives got concluded, and my tenure at the United States House of Senate got concluded. There are lots of people that reach out to me that want to be of help to me in terms of my next career goal. So I want to say thanks, big thank you for wanting to help me, and I will eventually get back to you. But I want to bet on myself for the first time. I want to bet on myself for the first time. I've accumulated all this knowledge. Working for the Payne family, I sat in over 25,000 meetings. In every meeting I sat in was to solve a problem. So even if I never stepped in school, one thing I know how to do is to solve problem. And so with all the experiences I've built over the years, and with all the technical knowledge, academic knowledge, and all the creative ability that God has endowed me with, I'd like to establish my own consulting firm called the Gray Group.
Okay.
And that organization will basically focus on all the things I feel that I'm proficient in, like data analytic, public relations, intergovernmental affairs, research, because I've learned how to do like secondary and primary research along the way, project management, negotiation, mediation, digital transformation, and artificial intelligence. So those are all competencies or capabilities that I've developed. So I want to build an organization around that And I also want to bring in people too that have been, that have worked with me along the way to be able to work with me in meeting the objective of this particular organization. And also, I'm endowed with musical talent.
Okay.
So I want to say thanks to my music coach, Candice Anderson, right here, the interviewer. She's very, very accomplished, performed for lots of great artists, Lauryn Hill, John Legend, Stephanie Mills, and you can name it. And I'm very blessed to be coached by you. And so I've written over 100 songs, and I can write songs I will, but we will be releasing around 7-8 songs, and that will be over 30 minutes long. So that should be equivalent to like an album. And I want to say thanks to my producer, D+. He's a Nigerian Canadian producer that I produced for lots of major artists like Burna Boy, Wizkid, and some of the top names you can find in the Afrobeat space. So yeah, I'm hoping also to capture some of my stories, and because I've had some, I explained some of the tragic story, but I've had some other promising and very great stories that I'd like to share. So I'll be coming up with my first book, so right around the time I'll be publishing my music album. And the title hit of my music album is called Thanks for the Love. So basically it's a love song to Jesus Christ and showing gratitude for all the things He's done for me, bringing me this far in my life. And so it's a song of gratitude.
Oh, okay. Well, you done let the cat out the bag now. So are you gonna sing a little bit for the people?
Okay, just I'd like to do a little bit of song. Thank for the love. Hey, my voice is not warm up. Okay, so this is like an impromptu kind of request. So please bear with me. Okay, but it's called Thank for the Love. It goes like this. Thank for the love, for all the love you gave me. Thank for the blood you shared for me on Calvary. When all my world was truly falling down, you came and changed it all. I cannot ever pay. So I'll stop here for that. So when the music is launched, I will be inviting you to come and purchase the CD, and also the online version of the music. So I'm looking up to you to support me in my journey. And I'm thankful to every one of you that have been there for me over the years. And may God bless you always.
All right. Everybody, welcome Michael K. Gray. Like you said, you're betting on yourself. So I know everyone, you have so many people that you have helped who I'm sure are very willing to support you and give as much help to you as you've given to them in advancing your own self, your own career, your own everything that you developed and wanted to do from since you've been helping others. Now it's time to step out and I guess reintroduce Michael Gray.
So basically, thank you so much. So this is like a reintroduction of Michael Gray. When I worked for the congressman and I worked for the Ping family, my goal was always to be in the background. No one asked me to be in the background, but I always want my leaders to be at the front. And I always want to be in the back. So many people know me to be a good worker or a great worker, but many people don't know that I have also great leadership skill. And that I remember the last discussion I had with my boss. He was encouraging me to come out to showcase who Michael Gray was. He was very proud of me. And when we had the discussion, but he said he said it in a very creative way. I did not know it was going to be the last major discussion we ever had. And so he said, Mike, I want you to come out. He said, I know that you stay in the back because you wanted me to be the light. You wanted me to shine. I did not ask you to stay in the back. You did it because you wanted me to be the person. And there was many times I asked you to come out, but you stated that you wanted to be in the back because you wanted me to be the leader. And so I'm happy for my experience with the Payne family. So may God bless Congressman Payne Sr. May God bless Congressman Payne Jr. And may God bless Uncle Bill, who is still alive, strong, still giving me advice, still guiding me, still being a teacher, a coach, a mentor, being a mentor. And I'm happy that I even had a discussion with him today, and I told him about my aspiration, and he blessed me and encouraged me that I'm ready and that I should go and show the world who Michael K. Gray is. So, world, welcome to Michael K. Gray. And this is my introduction from the Michael K. Gray Show. Thank you.
Wonderful. Everyone, let's shine the light on Michael K. Gray. Thank you so much. Join us at the Michael Gray Show. Looking forward to all the wonderful things that, all the new endeavors